Thank you.
Ça tourne.
Okay, so je vais faire ça en anglais. I'm going to do this in English.
Okay.
Je traduirai tout and I will translate everything.
Okay.
We are today with Brad Olsen, amazing speaker, and he writes a lot of books, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about it, and he has some information as well that can help us all of things that's being hidden from us and that are used against us. And with our free will and the knowledge, we can really expand and become more informed and spread the news all over the world. That's what we are doing here today in Contact in the Desert.
Oui,
Bonjour,
oui.
Brad.
Bonjour.
So, can you talk to us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, where you get all those information, why you're here?
Sure.
Feel free to be.
Yeah. Well, I've lived an unusual life. I've had the opportunity to travel around the world in my 20s, which gave me a world perspective. And all the while I was visiting these sacred places, and those are some of the books I've written. Those are my earlier books. I started out as a travel journalist. This is actually my first book. It's a how-to guide for people who want to take their own trip around the world, because I've always felt that travel is one of the greatest forms of education that we could give to ourselves.
Could not agree more.
Yeah. And it's still in print, and people still write to me and say they read that book and went and traveled around the world and had a great experience abroad. So in 1993, I was in Goa, India, and I met some Americans, which was kind of a rare experience. Usually I was hanging out with other Europeans or Australians, New Zealanders, Japanese, and I couldn't believe why so few Americans were abroad. I mean, there were even more Canadians abroad than there were Americans. So I met this group in Goa, India, and we were really enjoying going to these electronic dance music parties called Goa Trance as a style of music. And it just so happened that a year and a half later, we all found ourselves moving to San Francisco, California, where I still live today. But we started this warehouse there, and that's when I began my publishing company called CCC Publishing, which was the name of the warehouse. It's still my imprint. I still publish a dozen other authors, as well as most of my own books. And fast forward 25 years later, I transitioned out of travel about 10 years ago and then got into the subject matter that I find really important to understand and also for humanity to understand, and that are these esoteric subjects. And not only have I done 2 books, and the third is on the way, Future Esoteric and Modern Esoteric, but I publish other authors who have the subject matter that is similar to my content in these esoteric subjects.
And what are those contexts more like, more or less?
Okay, so these are the Zagami books here. Confessions of an Illuminati, Volume 1, 2, and 3. In fact, Volume 3 just came out this week. And you also have...
This is the new one. 1, 2, 3.
You have Last Pope, which is another Zagami book.
Dernier Pape.
Key to Solomon's Key, the Lon Milo Duquette. He's actually quite a famous author. And
so what is your modern esoteric talk about? What is it exactly? What can be helpful for humans in this? What are the information that you have?
Okay, so Modern Esoteric is book 1 in the series, and it is beyond our senses. It is the story of humanity, starting from way back in times of the antediluvian cultures that are here on Earth, and some of the megalithic ruins, which are now dated to 12,000 years ago. So we know that there had been a very high-tech civilization here on Earth. I got into this in my Sacred Places books, and then I just expanded upon it, some of the mysteries that needed a further story to be told on the origins of humanity. And then it comes up to this modern age and some of the things that we're dealing with in our reality today, and how to alert people to some of the things that are happening to us through the chemtrails, the GMOs, fluoride in the water, the vaccines.
Thank you.
It's a wholesale poisoning,
yes.
And my talk tomorrow night will be the top 10 deceptions, how everything is fake, including food, air, and water.
Yes.
So all the basics that people need and depend upon to survive and thrive are being withheld from us, including much of the subject matter that I get into in Future Esoteric, which contains all the ET and UFO information. And I would say equally as important, what is going on, who is doing it, and why, and how they are able to create this secret state to withhold this information from humanity.
Oh my God, I have a vivid memory of past lives, and in one where I come from originally was completely destroyed by what they are trying to put on the planet right now, and I'm very grateful that you are sharing those information widely, because for me it's the biggest cover-up in the whole planet. People are still not completely aware about it. And geoengineering and all these things, and I'm very curious. So I love those books. The future, if I don't have any, for example, should I start with like Future Esoteric, because I already have quite a lot of information.
Sure.
So will this one be a nice input to my collection?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're both wonderful, but if you're interested more in the human origins that have been covered up, then Modern Esoteric covers that. If you're more interested in the UFO ET subject matter, and not only that, but where could we go from here?
Yes.
What is the utopia? Absolutely.
Okay.
The whole final section in Future Esoteric is called Utopia.
Okay,
and that
great.
gets into free energy, the end of money, and new models that we could look at and should look at to advance our species and get through this hard time we're dealing with right now.
Because this is what we want to do. I've been awakened for like 25, 30 years now, and I'm aware about all the Illuminati and all this, but now we are already stepping into 50. We are already creating the new paradigm of the planet. So we need to have more and more solution rather than feed the fear, because a lot of people that are awakening just to this are really afraid, and so it's wonderful to see that you have solutions. So I think we're going to get that.
All right, good choice.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing your little time. And I will send you a little copy of the video. And
let me give you. I'll put my card in the.
I was going to ask you for that.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste.